Okay, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Let's get right to it, though. Train to Busan. Oh, first of all, I want to thank. There were several people that commented that I needed after I had done my review on Parasite, which I have just not been exposed to the Korean film market that much. And so when I went to the theater and saw Parasite, I loved it, had a great time with it. And someone said, well, you need to watch Train to Busan. And they had it in the comment section. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And then sure enough, it was on Netflix in America. And then I had heard that it was a zombie movie. And I have to be straight up honest with everybody. I hate zombie movies. I When I was a kid, I was kind of into them. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, all that stuff. But I got away from that. I've never watched The Walking Dead. I watched a little bit of the pilot, couldn't get into it, the pilot episode of first season. I haven't watched any of the spin-offs. And then I've only seen this one clip where everybody was like, on The Walking Dead, you got to watch Negan uses his bat and he hits this guy in the head and his eye pops out of the socket. And so I watched that because everyone said, you got to watch it. It's crazy. And so, yeah, and it was, but not enough for me to get into the show. I don't like zombie stuff. I kind of enjoyed World War Z. It came out a few years ago with Brad Pitt. And why I don't like zombie movies is because they're always so slow. Brains, whatever. And I was just like, I can't get into this. World War Z had really fast zombies, running. They would look like ants. They would pile up and then come to a string and get to a different level. It was just crazy stuff. So I didn't mind that one, but I don't like zombie movies. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, Train to Busan, watch a zombie movie. All right, here we go. So reluctantly, I put it on, and I had the closed captions on, so I was able to see the English subtitles. And wow, I was blown away. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it was shot beautifully. Second of all, the one thing that the American audiences just don't seem to get is character development. And I'm telling you, the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of this film was all character development. Now, I'm not going to repeat a lot of the names of the characters or the actors because I don't want to butcher them. So I'll do the character description. So the dynamic between the father and the daughter, where for her birthday she just wants to go be with her mom, and the mom is like, they're going through a divorce or separating, and the mom is in Busan, and the grandmother's like, you're absent, you're an absent father, you really need to be here more. Looking at the video, the father, and he sees the daughter couldn't make it through the song at the rehearsal for school or the performance at school, and the whole thing was just like really emotional. And you see the opening shots, or the father's a workaholic, and they're trying to make these deadlines and all this stuff, and then the last thing he wants to do is take his daughter to Busan. And and then one thing that just like ripped my heart out, which was beautifully written and shot, was when he gave the birthday gift to his daughter, because all she wanted to do was go to Busan and see the mom, and he said, "No, here's your birthday gift." And she opens it up, and it's a Wii video game console system, and then she looks over at the TV, and there's the same Wii console. So like the fact that the father is so out of touch, he didn't even realize he bought the same birthday gift for his daughter. I mean, like, you're just sitting there, and I'm just going, oh, this is crazy sad, because I have a 4-month-old daughter, and so right away I'm connecting with this whole father-daughter dynamic. And well, anyway, so he caves. I'm going to take you to Busan. They go and they get on the train, and then there's all these news reports about this outbreak going on, and but for some reason, like, they're not paying attention to the TV. They get on the train, and all this stuff. But you get this introduction to all these other characters. I loved the couple, the 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 father or the couple that were together, and the pregnant, and she was pregnant with a baby, and they were awesome. And I don't know who that actor is that played the character, but he was such a fighter. And when the zombies started coming, he started fighting them. Anyway, there's this chemical that spilled or something, and it's starting to turn people. What was really crazy is I loved the like World War Z. These zombies were fast. They were like going, and they made all the noises, and they were like fast, and it was like ramped up, and then they would be twisted or their arms would be broken, and you'd see them get back into place again, and these noises are happening, and their eyes get milky white, and they can only see with the light, because obviously they could see shadows, but when the lights are out they can't see. Like, you figure out all this stuff as you go along in the train. And it reminded me a little bit of Snowpiercer, where you start off in one in one area of the train, and you're trying to go from train to car to car to car to car, getting away from these zombies. um there was a homeless guy that snuck onto the train, which was great. I really enjoyed his character, although he seemed homeless. I don't know if he was, but he seemed homeless. The baseball team was fantastic. And the dynamic between him and is like a cheerleader girl, was really awesome. And the thing is, like, every one of these characters were rich. Even the conductor was fantastic. The one character who was the business person that was like the head of like transportation or something like that, and he was almost like the one character in Titanic who was a real life character who like uh, didn't want to believe what was going on, and just wanted to get to Busan himself. And then you find out later it was because of his mother. Like, he had promised his mother he would go see her. And so anyway, long story short is, it's just like all these beautiful things. That's the difference between this movie and like an American zombie blockbuster film. Is the American film would focus so much on the blood and the guts and the special effect type stuff like that, which is fine. It has a place. But if you don't have a good story to go along with it that has emotion, where you connect with the characters, then you don't really have anything. And what I'm finding is with the South Korean films is they have so much heart in them, the way they're written. And I just loved everything. And I swear this movie ended like 5 times. It ended in one part where you think the movie's over, and then boom, it's not. And then you think the movie's over, and boom, it's not. Um, just fantastic. There was only one part that pulled me out of it, was at the end when the train derailed, and it landed on its side. The CGI looked a little like off, but for the most part, all of the zombies, all the blood, the suspense, how they learned that like they were so crazy to like want to bite people, they forgot things like simple, like how to unlock a door or close a door. And I loved when the one character threw the water on the door, and then they put the newspaper over so that the zombies couldn't see. And then they would timing like, oh, when the tunnel comes and everything goes dark, we can climb. When they were up in the luggage area, like crawling, and they're all down there just like that was, I mean, it was all, I was sitting there like fingers like digging into my chair, just like, oh my god, can they get by? And then what's really crazy is like you fall in love with all these characters, and I really thought a lot of them would survive, and unfortunately, like, nobody survives. Like, everybody dies. Boom, boom. And then I thought for sure the baseball player with the cheerleader was going to make it. And and then she got bit, and then she bit him, and he was like, what, this is a nightmare. Because like one of the scenes that was so crazy was when they finally got to the one car um um that had all the baseball players in it, and they all turned into zombies. And then he was the only guy that wasn't, and he had the bat, and he literally had to bash in the heads of all his teammates that were all his friends, and he just froze because he couldn't do it. But then everybody else was fighting, and they were almost getting killed, and then he had to get in the fight, and I mean, just insane. And like throughout the whole film, the guy who was like trying to be in charge and wouldn't let anyone come in, the last car, and then he wind up turning into a zombie in the last battle and died. And he was, I just wanted to see my mother. It was like I hated that character throughout the entire film because all he did was whine and complain, and all he wanted to do was get to Busan, and he didn't care about anybody else. But then when you find out at the end, like why he didn't care, or that he just wanted to be with his mother, like I actually felt for him. And I have to say, like, in all the years, I'll close out with this. In all the years I've watched horror films, zombie movies, I've never gotten welled up in tears and had a lump in my throat. I almost cried twice in this movie. And as a new father with a 4-month-old baby, it was the end scene, big spoiler alert, when the father finally gets his daughter in the train and she's gonna go to Busan with the one other survivor who's pregnant, and he's at the end of the car and he's getting ready to jump off and commit suicide because he knows he's bitten and he's starting to turn into the zombie. And then like it goes to a flash shot of him holding his infant daughter, and she and it was just a beautiful moment. I'm getting teary-eyed. And then he dies. And so the last memory he had was his little girl. And so like that connected with me as a new father. I'm just getting emotional. But anyway, so I thought, okay, get past that. They get off the train. It finally ends, and the military's there, and they got the scope on them, and they can't tell because they're backlit because they're in a tunnel and the lights on the other side if they're gonna shoot them. And I thought to myself, every time you think people are gonna survive, boom, they die, boom, they die, boom, they die. And then I thought, oh my God, this movie's gonna end where they sniper and kill the pregnant lady and the daughter. And she started singing from the rehearsal that she couldn't sing at earlier in the movie because she missed her dad. And so she was doing this last performance for her dad. And the soldiers were like, no, they're survivors. And they put the arms down and they rushed out and they grabbed them. And then like, then you're through the movie and you're just like, ah. Oh. But I swear to God, it was crazy to watch this film and to get emotional watching a freaking zombie movie. But again, it's like, it was good storytelling set in a zombie thriller. And my hat's off to the director, hats off to the cast, the crew, everybody who made this, the people who did the zombie effects, the performers that had to contort their bodies and do everything. Like, this was a tough movie to make. And then I just heard that they're making a sequel called Peninsula. And I'm like, are you kidding me? How are they going to make a sequel to this movie? If that is the movie, if it is truly a sequel to Train to Busan. So anyway, this was a tough one to get through. I love this movie. Thank you so much for everyone who recommended me to check out Train to Busan from the Parasite video, and all my BTS Army people that jumped on and were like, no, you got to see this. You got to see this. This is great stuff. So I'm going to delve deep into that. I've got a couple of more South Korean films that I'm going to check out and watch. And so I'm making a list because people are recommending other ones. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on, and there's so much I missed because there were so many action sequences and so many emotional parts in this film, especially, one more, when the one guy turns to his wife after he's been bitten, and the one who's pregnant, and he tells her what he's naming the baby because they alluded to earlier in the film that he couldn't come up with a name. She's like, he can't even come up with a name for the baby. And he was like, and then like he looks at her and he says the name of what they should name the baby, and I was just like, oh my God. Once again, focus Shaun. This movie was fantastic. I highly recommend Train to Busan. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Let's talk about it in the comments section. Recommend some more movies for me. Follow me on social media. All the links are in the description below. And we'll see you on the next one.